Hey everyone, welcome back to this channel. So today we are solving a LeetCode SQL problem, consecutive numbers. So in this question, we have to find a number that appear at least 3 times consecutively, and we have an input table here. And as we can see, there's a number 1 which appear at ID 1, ID 2, and ID 3. Okay, so to solve this, we follow two approaches by using self-join and by using lead function and CTE. Okay, so first we start with the self-join. First, I'm writing a query, then I explain how it is work. Okay, so select ID as consecutive norms from logs as in self-join logs as b on a.id is equal to b.id minus 1. Why I'm doing minus 1, I'll tell you later. And again self join, we have to find 3 consecutive numbers. So for that we are using self join 3 times. Okay, join logs as c on a.id is equal to c.id minus 2, where a.num is equal to b.num and b dot number is equal to c dot number. Okay, so let's run this. Okay, so we get our answer here. So how it is work? Why we using the minus 1 in the IDs? So let's copy this table here. Okay, so we have to compare the IDs. Okay, what we want? We want the number which are equal at the different IDs. Okay, so by a.id and b.id, if I'm doing only this and not using the minus 1 here, what it'll do, it compare id1, then again we have the table same and with id1 and we get number 1 only, but we want the number should be the same at the different IDs. Okay, so we assuming that the b.id is greater than a.id, and to compare both the IDs we are doing minus 1. Assume that b.id is greater than a.id, so b.id should be the 2. So by doing minus 1 in 2, we are equaling the b.id to a.id. Okay, and what we want here, uh, where a dot number should be equal to the b dot number, in which a dot number equal a b dot number k. Okay, at the different ID, and same thing we do with the C. Okay, in this we are doing minus 2. So A dot ID should be equal to the C dot ID minus 2. Suppose C dot ID is 3. Okay, so by doing minus 2 in 3, we are comparing IDs. So C dot ID should be the 1. Okay, by doing minus 2 in that. So at ID 1, we having the number 1, and at ID 3, we having the number 1 is also the same. So by doing this, we get our answer output. Number 1 is 3 times appear consecutively. Okay, we can also solve this by using the lead function and CTE. So now we follow that step. Okay, so with CTE as select ID num lead function here, num over order by ID as lead 1, comma, then we are using again lead while num, comma 2. Why I'm using 2 here? Because of offset value. Lead, the first one uh, is the column and the other value is offset value. Okay, over order by ID as lead 2 logs. Okay. Select. First we select all the things. Okay, let's start from logs where a dot id, a dot number equal to b dot lead 1 and b dot lead 1 should be equal to the c dot lead 2. Let's run this. So ctd. So in the output we only want one column, but we are selecting all the column here. What we are doing wrong here? A dot num. Okay. Yes. Okay. So at id 1 we are getting number 1 lead number 1 lead 2 number 1. That means इसको भी रिमूव करते हैं. Can be understood. Okay. So what the lead function do? Lead function will give you the next value. Okay. Uh, if there's a value number 1 at id 1, so lead function will give you the next value at id 2. Okay. So next value what is number 1. So lead function will give you the next value. Okay. And then we use in lead 2 we using the 2 by as a offset value. Okay, so what it will do, it escape two values. Okay, so in this first value is this. Lead function by defaultly escape करता है first value को. Okay, so first value escape करके we get lead one value is 1, and then we are in the lead 2 function we are giving the two offset value, so it will leave first value, second value, then it will give you the third value. So third value is here. Okay, so by using the where condition in this, where a dot num is equal to b dot lead 1 and b dot lead 1 is equal to c dot lead 2. Remove this alliances here. And we have to select only one column id as consecutive nums. Okay. We get our answer here. Okay, so we are solving this question with two methods by using lead function and by using the self check. Thank you for watching.